welcome to Who Dares Rolls Mumbo Jumbo for this August. We're into August. Summer's here. It is currently all right. It's stifling hot over here in the UK for the last few days. Very humid. I've just been moist all the time and not in a good way. So that's what's going on over here. Hello, everybody. Hi. Back to a semi-regular thing. We'll try and keep this on a regular thing. Coffee, very useful. It's early on a Sunday morning. Only time I can do these things before Isaac gets up and causes me carnage. So family are back. They've been camping. They all went away camping. It was lovely. The house to myself. Well, other than the dog and George, but they keep to themselves. It was pleasant. It was lovely. Very nice. Didn't play many board games, but you know everyone was away, so there was not much played. However, speaking of which, what we have played, I will discuss now. Played, yes, a couple of bits. So I took the bag, I had last week, back to Friday games because Ben wasn't there, so there's four of us again. So we played a RoboRally again. Got that out, give that another blast. I find it's useful to bring games subsequent weeks because it means that then people remember the rules and then they can play it. And I think it's something we should do more. We definitely do it more on a Sunday night where we would have the same game on repeat, maybe for 2 to 3 times. Because, you know, first player's learning, second player's, oh, I'm getting this now. Third player's actually, you can kind of dive into it. And I think that's the problem, especially, I mean, I'm sure everyone out there has the same problem of this modern age where the FOMO is real and more games, and you play something and it goes on the shelf, doesn't get touched again. So it's been good to get the same games back to the table. So RoboRally we played again. I mentioned it last week, I discussed it last week, so I'm not going to give you massive depth to it. However, what I did note, well, rummaging around on the internets as post RoboRally, I think it was Ian Sutton, hello Ian, had mentioned about RoboRally and he'd not played it for a while and blah, 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 blah. I did see that the new version of RoboRally, Renegade Games version of RoboRally, God, there's too many RoboRallys in this, its expansions and its boards and all that are compatible with every version of RoboRally. Fuck me. So yeah, you can buy the expansions and use them with my version. I mean, I'm doing all this. This is typical board game fucking problems, isn't it? Because it's sat on my shelf. I've not properly played that game for close to nearly 10 years. I worry that may actually be his length of time it's not been touched. And now I've got it out and I'm like, oh, yeah, I forgot how much fun this was, bro. We're having a good time with this. Oh, let's buy some expansions. Don't do that. Okay, let's see how much more play it gets first before we go buying expansions. So anyway, that's got to see. RoboRally, if you've never played it, as I said, it's Battlebots, programmable robots, Battlebots, Carnage, Chaos, Anarchy. There's a new version out of it now. You can pick up at a reasonable price, though I did see they're bringing out a 30th anniversary for ridiculous money. Just get the normal one and play that, if that's your sort of thing. Hit Zeroed. We played Martin Wallace's Hit Zeroed again. Post-apocalyptic zombie push your luck with some Euro-y elements to it. There's a really nice mechanism at the start of that where you bid. You have to bid. You're bidding essentially the resources you're going to need to survive to give yourself the turn order to be able to pick what route is best. So we had another game of that. Again, everyone had played last week, so we could get straight into the meat of it. I won that. I lost RoboRally. I died, in fact, in RoboRally. But Hit Zeroed, I survived. Go me. Huzzah! And then Courtisans. We played Courtisans again, which I was going to lean over and get the bag, but I've left the bag in the boot of the car, so I won't do that. Courtisans, I picked up Courtisans, even. I picked up the Expo, nice little package, small little box thing. It's the one with the map goes across the middle of the table, and you're playing members of the royal court to various points on this board, this layout on the table. And essentially you play it above the table, then they're good guys that were going to be worth victory points to you if you've got those colours in your hands. If you play at the bottom, they're going to be worth negative points. That's the basic nub of it. There's a few characters that have special abilities. It's like an assassin or a guard that can't be killed. The assassin can kill other guards, spies, which go down face down, so you don't know where they are or who they are. And the idea is it's a real sort of take-thatty sort of bugger over your neighbour type game, because you're trying to obviously get good stuff in front of you and make it worth points, but everyone else has obviously got alternative agendas going on, and they're obviously dumping shit on you to fuck you up. It is very take-thatty. It is not a game for soothing sort of oh, that's been nice together. It's definitely not, but I really enjoy actually what it does with a very small package, and it's a reasonably priced. I think it was just over 20 quid. So it's not bad, not bad. I'm going to slurp some coffee. Aside from that, the only other thing I've been playing, because everyone was camping, was Dune Imperium. I've just put out The Rise of Ix on the digital version of Dune Imperium, which quickly, while that flashes into my mind, there is a humble bundle, or I saw one the other day for a bunch of digital tabletop board games, and amongst them was the Dune Imperium was in that package. And I think you can get it for about 15 is the lowest you can do it for, I think. Dune Imperium, the digital implementation of that is really solid. And they've just put out, as I say, The Rise of Ix. So number one, if you're on the fence, it's not a bad price. There's a bunch of other stuff in there as well. I think Scythe and Wingspan and Carcassonne and the usual shit. But most of it I've got, so not for me. But if you've never done one of them recently, worth a punt. Anyway, back to Dune Imperium. Digital, yeah, Rise of Ix is brought into it. That was the expansion that brought in the Dreadnoughts. And like this shipping track on the right. That's the main sort of thing, some tech you get into the game. And some more cards. So I've been playing that. I played that last night. I had a quick game of that. Well, quick. That's the only thing I will say. Be settle in for the evening, because there's usually most games on that will run a good over an hour, probably a couple of hours. But I played that with the Ix, and I won it. I won a digital game. I really like how they've implemented it on the PC. I'm playing it on Steam. I think it is on the phone. I wouldn't want to attempt this on the phone. Well, not my phone. But yeah, it's really well implemented. I enjoyed Dune Imperium, as we know. I've mentioned it before. If you've played it and enjoy it, then fine. If you've never played it and you want, I'd quite like to play Dune Imperium, haven't got a group to play it with, then this is your option. Buy the digital one, cheaply at the moment. But yeah, it really implements all that really well. It also highlighted to me a bunch of rules I've been getting wrong, which was like, because there's on the shipping track, you move up a shipping track on there, and there's the very bottom icon is split between, you can have 2 spice or 5 monies and everyone else gets 1, is how that icon is supposed to be identified. I am pretty certain that we have played games of it where we've taken 8 money, because it does look like you get 8 money. I'm sure we may have done that in error a few times. And there was something else anyway. But it was really good to play it, because it's quite nice to then go, oh, we got that wrong. And we played a lot of games of that. But anyway, Dune Imperium, really good. I really like the digital implementation of that. I strongly recommend it. And all of that stuff there. Lovely. Shall we go on to some news? Here is the news. Speaking of Dune Imperium, actually, Gen Con's going on at the moment. So there's lots of, I said there's lots, there's not a massive amount of news that I've seen coming out of Gen Con, personally. One snippet I've literally caught this morning, and I'll see if I can find the image for it, but it was very small, looks like another expansion of Dune Imperium that we were just talking about, which is Dune Imperium Bloodlines. And there's a very small pic from a distance of this thing on the table. So I don't really know what it involves, what the content of that is or whatever. It looks, from where I can see it, to be quite a flat thing. So it might just be cards and maybe a new board. I don't know. If I can find more out, I'll flash images up here. But to say the image I saw was quite small. So not much more is known about that, but that's what I did see. What else have we got here? The Alien 3 Leagues Alien RPG. They are going to Kickstarter in the next week or so with a 2nd edition, which is met with a little bit of like, nah. And I've got to be honest with you. I mean, I've got 3 Leagues, the base starter box, the book, everything. It's a beautifully illustrated and produced thing. It's a thing of beauty. I've not actually managed to run a game of it yet. I will. But they're doing a 2nd edition, which is only barely 5 years, if that game's been out. So I'm kind of left going a little bit. I think it's less than about 3 years. I don't know. A 2nd edition seems weird. One has to presume it is to cash in on Alien Romulus, which is out in a couple of weeks' time, which I'm tempted to go and see. So, you know, I understand, you know, you want to catch in on the trend. You know, it's not every day we get an Alien movie released. You're sat on an Alien product, a quite well sold Alien product, then I can see where they want to dive in. There's also announced a new cinematic box, which is Rapture Protocol and minis. They're on about minis in that box that we can use in that and other things for your tabletop RPGing stuff. I quite like using minis in my games because I find it easier for people to just kind of get the layout, get what's going on. So yeah, another cinematic box. They've all been really good, the cinematic boxes. They come with really great products, and more cards and big maps usually, and fold outs and great manuals and stuff, and all beautiful art, as I said. So yeah, if you're an Alien fan, I mean, they're almost worth having just to own, just because they look gorgeous and they're a nice thing to read. Though I noticed that Andrew Gasker, who did all of that earlier stuff, is not linked to this one, I believe, which is weird because he's kind of like the Alien Bible man. So we'll see. Anyway, if that's in your wheelhouse, then that is out there, that is coming. How exciting. And Alien Romulus is coming. And then the other thing I saw was Paranoia, the board game. I loved Paranoia back in the day, the West End Games RPG of Paranoia. It's this weird RPG of you basically being, well, the big brother. It's essentially the thing on there. You've got the computer as your friend. This giant sort of omnipresent big brother computer system controls this underground complex, and you are one of its clones. You're all clones, if I remember rightly, and you go out on missions. And then the issue is, it's all about your fear of, I think at the time, it was communists and everyone else is who you can trust. And you can't trust anyone. And you score points off each other by basically throwing your friend under the bus and going, well, they were communists, or they were this, or they were against the computer, and it was all this. So you're going on missions, but it's embroiled in this also, everyone trying to stitch everyone else up and get ahead. It's very funny, very weird, amusing. The board game version of that does tantalise me, because I did love Paranoia from back in the day. It is a stupid game. So a board game version of that is interesting. There was a card game a while ago that I'd seen at the expo in Bring and Buy. I think Nate picked it up, actually. We played it. It wasn't great, but, you know, that's out there. But a board game of Paranoia, wonderful. Speaking of Nate, good luck, mate. So Nate was on the podcast years ago, has been on live shows with me and does stuff. He is my gaming brother from another mother. He's not been a well man. He's had cancer diagnosis. He's not been great, but he went under the knife. He went to surgery a couple of days ago. Down this neck of the woods, actually, to have the cancers removed. He did post briefly that he's out of surgery. He's still with us, so God bless him. He's the dude. He's the man. So good luck, Nate. I'll see you soon, because he has a wedding coming up in a couple of months' time that I'm going to go along to. But I wish him well in his recovery. If I can, I'll get down and try and see him while he's down in the neighbourhood. But yes, good stuff. Well done, Nate. Everyone wish Nate well done. Well done, Nate. That's that. That's really it, I think. Other than watched, what have I been watching? I watched Ghostbusters Frozen Empire the other night. We were indoors because it was cheap on Prime. I picked it up. I have notes. You know, it does the nostalgia factor very well. It is probably, well, it is, no, it's not probably. It is too long. It's over 2 hours long, I think. And I think the biggest problem with it, well, one of the many problems with it, is it's just stacked with so many characters. I think, if I remember rightly, I totted it up on my hands at the end of the movie, the climax of the movie. There is somewhere in the region of about 14 characters, all on the screen and interacting at various points during this climax of the movie, which is just too many people. It's very busy. And there's no need for it. There's so many little subplots and stuff going on that doesn't need to be there. If you look at the original Ghostbusters, that is a lean, mean ghost fighting machine. It's a beautiful movie. Still there, still stands up well, still very funny. Special effects still hold up. This is so desperate to try and give business to do to all these different people. The kids from the original Afterlife movie and everyone else, and the original Ghostbusters, they're bringing back some of those into it as well. So it's desperately trying to give everyone something to do, and it just means that your movie has no plot. And there is vaguely a plot in there regarding this ice demon thing, but all of that ultimately kind of falls away because they're just spending so much fucking time spinning plates just trying to introduce characters or give them something to do or do something here, and it just kind of ultimately was just a bit. I mean, if you're a Ghostbusters, massive Ghostbusters fan, my wife is. She loved it because it was giving her all the nostalgia nods and music cues and everything else. But yeah, fine. It is definitely a lower tier 3-star for me. It's a shame because I like Ghostbusters myself. Afterlife was okay. This just makes sort of some silly mistakes, and it could have probably been a decent movie if had they kind of just focused a bit more laser focus on what they wanted to do rather than meandering. Banshee I've continued to watch. I've just finished the first season of that, so I've got one season left to go on that, which continues to be absolutely deranged, although I will say the third season has some really good bits in it. But there was fridging of a character in it, which is just a bit. I saw that kind of mile off. So yeah, but other than that, it is fun, violent, stupid fun, and it is very violent and very stupid. So there's that, and then who could possibly forget that I need a sip of coffee? Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon director's cuts have been released to Netflix in the last couple of days. I did last night, late last night, don't ask me why, started watching the first one. I will say what I saw of it, and I watched about 40 minutes of it, and it's now added, I think it's added some ridiculous, like 2 hours to it, or something like that. It is, it's ridiculous. I will say, of the 40 minutes I watched last night, there was an awful lot of new footage amongst that. And it was actually giving some layers to some of the characters in that. A bit nuanced in it, and it also obviously is blood, guts, violence, tits, all the rest of the stuff is thrown in. It's up front now. It is very much a very adult Star Wars. It is stupid still, and it does. What I do think, what this might do, is do what I always said from the outset: is you're taking a ridiculous concept, which is essentially the Magnificent Seven in space, which is done gloriously so by Corman in the 80s with Battle Beyond the Stars. I said, if you're going to do this thing, then you just double down for the exploitation factor, and you really go to town on it, and you just go all out and embrace that silliness. It does look like the unrated versions of Rebel Moon may well be doing that. It is still not great from what I've seen of it. I mean, it's still probably going to be awful by the end of it, but at least it's leaning more into its genre exploitation trappings and kind of going to town on that, which I applaud at any given time. So I see, and the jury's well out on that one. I am not saying to go and watch it. I may well get round to watching the rest of it, and I will report back if I get the spare 4 or 5 hours. That's kind of it. House of the Dragon I need to watch last week's because I didn't watch it because everyone was away, and this coming week there'll be another episode, so there's 2 more on that. Not much left of that season, but I've really enjoyed that. I am very much tempted, as I picked up on Prime the other night, cheap was the digital versions of Twin Peaks, though I have them on DVD. I really want to watch Twin Peaks again. I watched it for a few years, and it is ridiculous. It is gloriously deranged. It's David Lynch. I love a bit of Lynch. Twin Peaks, I remember watching that when it first aired back in the 90s and loving it immensely. I've watched it subsequent a couple of times between that because I do love Twin Peaks. The family have never watched it. And I'm tempted to get... I've said to the wife a couple of times, you really would get into... You'd enjoy this. It's a murder mystery. It's this murder mystery with Lynchian weirdness slammed up against basically a daytime soap opera. And it's got massively big soapy moments in it and characters and tropes and stereotypes in amongst this Lynchian nightmare world. If you've never seen Twin Peaks, you should watch Twin Peaks. I've never... So there's the 2 seasons, the first season, the second season, and then there's The Return, which came out a few years ago, which, if I'm honest with you, I started watching, and then we dropped our Sky subscription, so I never saw all of it. So I've got that to watch, and it just reminded me of that I have that to watch. So I'm going to go and dive back into all of that, and maybe drag the family kicking and screaming with me. God help them. Oh yes, quickly, I saw this as well. Pick this up. Can't be fine. So look, this is... How old is this? Fair Means or Foul, 1991. The main thing I kind of picked it up because it's actually designed by the designer of Courtisans, whose name now utterly escapes me. I should remember it. Bless him. He passed away recently. Anyway, Fair Means or Foul. It's a bidding-ish. If you do stealing stuff from houses, and there's a weird rondel card mechanic and things. Even the the Spiel des Jahres back in 1990. I think it's been subsequently reprinted a couple of times as that and Hoity Toity and something else. I don't think it's that well respected or great, but for like a quid, which is what it was, I mean, you can't really go far wrong. So I might get that to the table one night. And that's it, really. There you go. There's a ramble. There's some stuff to get you over and think about. This has been Who Dares Rolls. I have been Mike B. Hello, everybody. Nice to see you. Have a good week. I might even get another video out in between all this. Who knows? But there's some stuff to think about. I will see you soon. Have a lovely week. Play some games. I'm going to be playing some games later tonight. Don't know yet what that will be. The world is my oyster. Until then, have fun and see you soon. Ta-ta. Signing off.